Well, welcome back, and here's another workout vlog. I'm going to be doing some chest, back, arms, some shoulders, and some legs. Of course, shoulders are arms as well, but sometimes people refer to biceps and triceps as arms, so I'll say shoulders specifically. But yeah, I'm just going to do about 3 or 4 sets per body part. I think on chest I did about 5 sets, and also on back I did about 5 sets because I was doing something a little bit easier. As usual, I usually pick one body part and do a lot more sets for that body part just to really push it, because volume is necessary in your training at times and frequency is also necessary. I always vary things up, so you can vary things up too, and I strongly encourage it and find what works for you. So here you see me just warming up with the inclines. I did some light dumbbells and I just go to 80s, and I'm just really getting a little bit of a stretch and just pumping the blood in there, and then I will move to some heavier weights. So one thing I want to talk to you a little bit about today, and I thought it was a good subject to talk about, and I have covered it before, but I do keep getting this question all the time. And the question is, you know, should I get stronger? Do I need to get stronger in order to gain muscle? And the truth is, yes, you do need to get stronger, but the problem is there's a misunderstanding on the internet about what strength really is, okay? So I firmly believe that varying your sets and reps up is very necessary in order for you to gain muscle, okay? So I'm a big time advocate of 5 rep sets, 10 rep sets, 20 rep sets. I'm an advocate of all of it. But sometimes in your training career, you will find that a 5 rep set will be too hard on your joints, or perhaps you have some sort of injury or something that is being antagonized by lifting that heavy, and you will be forced to stay in the 10 or 15 rep range, okay? Maybe 20 rep range, maybe 30 reps. I don't know what it is, but just so you know, if you're doing 30 reps with a certain weight, and then you increase that weight and get 30 reps, whereas before you could only get 30 reps with a lighter weight, you have gained strength. So there's this fallacy that's out there right now that says the only way to gain strength is to be doing these 5 rep sets or 4 rep sets. And although I think the faster way to gain strength is to do sets like that along with your higher rep sets, it's not the only way. Okay, so don't think that by training in the 10 or 15 rep range that you're not getting stronger. You know, if your weight is going up and you're able to get the same amount of reps, you're getting stronger. It's just that you're training in a higher rep range. So this is the thing that a lot of guys get caught up in, because it's all about ego. There's always a keyboard warrior out there that'll see somebody do like 100 reps with a certain weight, and then they'll say, wow, I can do that weight easy. That guy's such a wimp. You know, what's wrong with that guy? Meanwhile, the keyboard warrior can only do 1 or 2 reps with that weight. You know, they're not really paying attention to how many reps the guy is really doing, okay? Ultimately, strength isn't just found in 2 reps, 3 reps, 4 reps. It's found also in sets of 40, sets in 30, sets in 20. Okay, so vary this up. This is the big thing that a lot of people miss out on in training, and they miss out on a lot of results as well because of this, because they get too stuck on training the same way. And sometimes the body will tell you when it's just not the right time to train at that heavy or intensity level. Sometimes it's just not right to train at super heavy weight for 5 reps. Sometimes your body just does not want to do that, and it will snap no matter how good your form is. And then other times it is the right time. So you learning your balance, you know, learning how to balance this out is really important. Okay, so you can see I went over to seated rows, and again, what I've said over and over again is you stick the chest out and you pull those shoulders back. You know, it's not about how much the arms are bending. If anything, it's more about the rotation around the shoulder and the retraction of the shoulders.
See you long hair guy.
So you have to remember to greet people and say bye when they leave, you know, the gym, you know. So everybody does this a little differently, but sometimes I just do it in the middle of my set. I don't care. So yeah, you don't have to talk during your sets, just so you know. That's just my annoying personality that comes through when I'm working out. So but anyway, yeah, so after I finished some seated rows, I went over to some shoulder presses. And although I was pretty warm already, I did do 1 or 2 sets of lighter weight just to make sure that my shoulder is used to the movement. It knows what's coming. You know, my shoulders kind of know, okay, this is a new movement, new angle of attack. And this is something that I encourage everybody to do. Whenever you do a new movement, don't think that just because you're warm that you don't want to get the body ready for it. So here I am using the 80 pounders, and I'm going to move up to the 90s, and I'm going to rep out with that. And you can see in the background there's Travis there. He's watching. He's watching. I think I got a fan, man. I think I got a fan now. Just kidding, Travis. I know you're not a fan, don't worry. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is move myself up to the 90 pounders here after I put these back.
You want an autograph? That's right. Nobody would be able to read it anyway. It's like some 5-year-old scratching your car.
So I went from there over to training some biceps, and I decided to just do some really light bicep today. Okay, so I'm not concentrating on weight at all. I just want to just pump blood into the arms. I'll do a heavy day tomorrow, but today I'm just going to do some lightweight. So I'm just starting with the bar just to warm up the bicep tendons, and from there I'm just going to put 10s on each side and just focus on squeezing the biceps, just getting the reps out. You know, I'm not worried about strict form according to anybody else's standards. I'm just feeling my body and what feels right to getting the constant tension in the muscle and the constant pump. Okay, so I'm finding my own groove. That's really what it's about. It's almost like how Stella got her groove back. You know, think of me as Stella. I'm getting my groove, you know. So I find my own groove. I always try to find my own groove and what stimulates that area of my body the most, what feels like the muscles are contracting and relaxing and the blood's pumping in there. So ultimately I get this kind of groove going because I find that when I go too strict and I go super slow reps on the way down and I'm locking the arms out, it seems like as if I lose something. It's like I don't get the same type of stimulus on the muscle. So just so you know, that's why I curl the way I do. And there is such thing as a drag curl, but today I'm not doing the drag curl. I'm actually bringing the hands or the palms up higher, and I'm okay with my elbows coming forward because I'm trying to contract that longer head of the bicep that does cross the shoulder joint. Okay, so there's a few different ways to curl, and I've talked about this before. But ultimately it just depends on which part of the bicep you want to hit and which part you want to stimulate the most. Okay, so yeah, I'm just really getting into a groove here and just pumping blood in there. And sometimes it's really nice to do light workouts and just push that burn, and then other times it's nice to do heavy workouts and really push your limitation around strength. Okay, so a combination of this is really necessary as a bodybuilder. You don't want to just get stuck in one way of training. So I did about 4 sets of bicep curls with a barbell using super lightweight, like I said, just pansy weight according to, you know, what a lot of guys are using these days or what I used to use. But like I said, I do get something out of doing the higher rep sets and just squeezing the arms, just concentrating on really getting a good squeeze, right? So yeah, try this out. Try the light day, try the heavy day, you know, do a combination of both. You want to hit all the muscle fibers, not just some of the muscle fibers. So that's really the goal. So from there I went to tricep press downs, and lately I've been doing a lot of skull crusher type movements and some dips with body weight and so forth. So when I come to the gym, sometimes I like to take the opportunity to use the press down machine, and sometimes I'm facing the machine, sometimes I'm lunging outwards from it to stretch the long head of the tricep. So you can experiment with the different angles, and each angle, although it might look similar, will hit different parts of the tricep. So for instance, if I'm doing the tricep press down at this angle, it will be different than if I take one step towards the machine or one step back. You see, like it'll change the torque curve. So ultimately I try to find the place that stimulates my tricep the most for that day, and sometimes it'll be different. So from triceps I moved over to the squat rack to do some one-legged squats. Sorry for that visual there, but you know what they say, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And ultimately, I could talk all day about how my way of squatting or lunging is effective, how hitting 90 degrees at the knee or stretching certain areas of the body and keeping the weight around the hip is the most effective. I can speak about that all day. But ultimately, I just want to show that there is some results that have come from my way of doing lunges. And I just showed you, you know, the one-legged squat where you can step forward and then step back. There's a couple variations of this. But the fact is that there is this mass misconception out there that you have to really bend the knees more than 90 degrees and bounce off the tendons and wear knee sleeves and all this kind of stuff in order to get leg results. And it's just not true. You know, I developed my legs from the way I squat, and I keep the weight rotating or revolving around the hip joint because the hip joint is a stronger joint in the body than the knees. And that has actually produced most of my results with my legs. So ultimately, just take it with a grain of salt and cater everything I say to your body, because your body will have its own individual torque curves and most efficient way to move. So your job as a person training in the gym is to find your way of moving, to find your efficient way of moving. And that will stimulate your muscle the most, right? Because once you find the efficient way to move that allows you to not beat the heck out of your joints, but actually stimulate the muscle as well, you're going to be really efficient when you're in the gym, you know? So when I'm using 225 in lunges right now, or one-legged squats, I'm feeling so much of my quad, my hamstring, and my gracilis muscles and my adductor muscles, and that's because I'm using the movement in the way that's right for me. If I drop the back knee down and hit the floor, then I start to overstretch the hip and I start to tweak the knee, and it doesn't actually feel right anymore. It feels like all I'm doing is damage to my body, but I'm not actually hitting the muscles any more than I normally would, okay, by just training. So it's up to you, just find your own groove. Don't trust people that say it's always one way fits all, because that's not the truth. So I perform 3 sets of one-legged squats with 225, and I'll start to work my way up to heavier weight in the next workouts in the next few weeks. I'll start to get to 275 and probably 3 plates at some point. And it's an extremely effective exercise for really hitting the overall leg, and it takes a lot of the lower back out of the movement as well. But anyway, that's the end of my workout, and so thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you got something out of it. And if you need to get a hold of me, just come find me at naturalgallantbodybuilding.com. Take care for now.